Hi. Once again, good evening, everyone. And thanks for joining on time on a day when India is playing cricket, at least the cricket lovers here. The purpose of this, I can see there are a lot of friends here, but also some prospective friends whom we don't know yet. So, in the interest of the agenda, I'll quickly jump into a short presentation. Before that, Rekha and I run these programs. Rekha and I are MCCs. Both of us come with over 30 years of corporate experience before we made this pivot into professional coaching. Yeah. I have a small deck thanks to the team, and we're going to run through this. At any point of time, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt. Yeah. This is going to be an interactive question. We are keeping a track on the chat and Q&A. So it's supposed to be interactive, so let us keep it interactive. Yeah. So why PCC as a program? Yeah, I mean, just setting the context. I personally feel, and many of us professional coaches who make our bread and butter from this industry, believe that coaching as a profession, a full-time profession, where you're being a coach as a leadership coach, executive coach, life coach, any other prefix or suffix that you attach to it, you need to be a PCC. It helps. You don't have to be. Don't misquote me. Don't get me wrong. You don't have to be a PCC, but it helps if you are a PCC to be a professional coach. Because at an ACC, it's more the process. At a PCC, it's definitely more of an art. Whereas our ACC alumni do have access to both these capabilities, process and art. But at a PCC, we really dive deeper into it. But what also fascinates us all in this program are, the importance of personal development. This is as much learning about ourselves, deeper self-awareness, as it is about getting the credential and the certification and clocking, everything that requires like 500 hours. So when you sign up for PCC, especially those of you who are from our community also, this journey will be very different. We are going to demand a lot more personal transformational shift as part of this journey. That's why we have deliberately kept it, over a longer period of time, spanning the training sessions. We do it only twice a year because that helps us to really focus on this, and there is no clash, unlike we have clash on ACC batches. We have really kind of kept it 6 months each for 2 batches of PCC. Yeah. So requirements for PCC, I mean, if you have already completed your ACC level certification, this might be repetitive for some of you. You need additional 65 hours of training, both synchronous and asynchronous. Our program, we continue to maintain 80% synchronous. Only 20% is asynchronous, which is around 54 hours. Minimum 10 hours of mentoring. Again, it's minimum. We do little more than 10 hours, depending on what the learner coach needs and how much they're aligned. Additional 400 hours of practice if you already completed 100 hours for ACC. And of course, what we run, the program that we run is an ACSTH program, which demands two submissions of recordings with transcript. Again, those of you who may not know this fact, I'm an ACTP assessor for PCC, and both of us are MCCs here. We have deliberately chosen ACSTH route because we feel that brings in an extra element of rigor to the journey. Yeah, asynchronous includes assignments. These are trade secrets. We'll not delve into that as part of this webinar. We're very proud of what we do there. Some of us who are directly going for PCC, the total it is 60 plus 65 hours of training, 125 hours of training, 10 plus 10, 20 hours of mentoring, total 500 hours of practice. 2 recordings remain as it is for PCC and asynchronous assignments. This is if you go directly to PCC. As many of you are aware, you have to be a PCC to go into your MCC journey. Whereas for PCC, you can go directly. By the way, Rekha and I did that. We went to PCC directly by choice, right? Conscious choice. Rekha, anything you want to add? Please do comment. So now, why Regal Unlimited for your ACC or a PCC journey as part of this webinar. One, it is, what we are really proud of is the community of coaches that we have created, among the alumni, with a stated objective of continued learning and professional collaboration. This is just not a group of classmates, old classmates who have come together to form a WhatsApp group and having all the fun. No, and with an occasional meetup. This is a professional community with all its seriousness. But some of your best new friends you will find there. So the objective is very clear: continued learning and business collaboration. There's a lot of focus on intense practice. Those of you who have received our mail, we mentioned practice 3 times. That's the rigor that we bring in. But it's also about deep work. Self-transformation, the other phrase we use is self-work or deep work. So there is no escape from this, because a professional coach has to be committing to something deeper as part of a self-transformation. ACC is more, the way I see it, is more of a process-driven, whereas PCC is the art of coaching from a state of being. That's very deep, right? That's the program that we run to coach from a state of being. Yeah, we all of us come from business background. We all have run P&L for business in our erstwhile avatars. So we know what it takes to manage P&L, top line, bottom line, market share, delinquency, or quality of collections. So we also cover that along the journey, especially at PCC, because most of the PCC learners are looking at becoming professional coach. And this is something that we are very passionate of. And we have experience, not just 2 of us, even some of the other visiting faculty will come in, who all are PCC holders. So this is a truly transformational journey that every coach experiences, because only if you have experience as a coach, you will be able to partner with your client to kind of make that experience coming alive for the client. If you're not experience that yourself, how can you partner with your client? So again, those of friends here, it's a very different journey when you move from ACC to PCC. Yeah. So again, what is more important? Is it the journey or the destination? It's also the company or the community, something that we have built. A lot of effort have gone from all of us to build that community, nurture the community. A lot of it is available on our LinkedIn page and our website. But if you have any doubt, any questions, we'll come back to that. Yeah. So this journey is about credentialing, learning, continued lifelong learning, and also being part of the community. Yeah. Just before I logged in, I just shared one of our members of our community from Hyderabad. They are hosting Agile event. So I just shared that. It has got nothing to do with real coaching that we speak of, ICF coaching, but it's something he's giving back to his community as an Agile trainer. That's what we expect when we say community. It's just not just taking. It's more giving than taking from the community. Yeah, just to set the expectation there. Yeah, so we definitely go extra mile. For Rekha and me and some of the other trainers who come in, we do this only because it's our passion. Both Rekha and I, we've just come back from a short trip. Like when we connected, I was getting my car washed at a car wash outside, and Rekha was on her, on a cab ride from airport to her home. And we are here. I mean, given a choice, we would have taken an early retreat and taken some rest, because that's the passion that we bring to the table. Yeah, and it's much more than merely coaching and training. Yeah, there are a lot of peripheral add-on that we bring in because of our passion. And the purpose, we are very clear that we are creating one of the best category of coaches in this part of the world. We are very clear about the vision and mission of our organization. It is to create truly world-class coaches, well above the average coach in the country. Yeah, it's extra mile, you can count on it. And this being recorded, we are committing. Yeah, the focus is on practice. So it's just not transactionally taking those 500 hours or 100 plus 400 hours. This is like that 10,000 hours Malcolm Gladwell speaks of. It's both quality and quantity. It's just not, put on the blinkers and run a sprint to 500 hours. No, you'll never become a great coach. Every conversation has to be reflective. Every conversation you take notes, make your journal. Journaling is mandatory in this part of the journey. So this becomes a truly reflective journey. And when you do that practice, there is no escape. You will be a great coach. And it is much beyond what we bring in, both Rekha and I. It's also the learnings, the experience that you draw from the peers, from the community, yeah, the batchmates. And I think I personally feel that you all learn from them more than at least from me, for sure. I'm very, very aware of that, how much little I can add compared to the collective wisdom of the group. Like we have a batch of 12 now, 6 women, 6 men, 5 from overseas, 5 from different cities of India. Now the collective wisdom that is available there or going to be available there, we have the second session tomorrow. It's much bigger than what Rekha and I can collectively bring in. And that's what we speak of community. So practice, 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 absolutely no escape. Yeah. So am I cut out for PCC? Some of friends here who have gone through our ACC program, if you have this doubt, don't even ask us. Don't ask anyone, including your friends in the community. Ask yourself. Let the answer come to you. And those of you who would have spoken to me earlier during our ACC journey, I would have said the same thing. It's not by accident that you are here on this webinar. There's something that has brought us together on this webinar. So let you be driven by your heart from now on, not just for your coaching journey, but also beyond. And you will never go wrong. I'm also a certified healer, so I know what I'm speaking. Yeah. Yeah, this is something, a new addition to our decks, and you'll see more of this. Thanks to the team. So how rocky is going to be the terrain from ICF, ACC to PCC or directly to PCC? I think this pretty much summarizes. If you felt ACC journey was rigorous, this is going to be double or triple of that. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of demand on you too. And every batch by batch, let me be very frank, setting the expectation, we are only increasing the depth of the program. Because we want you to be coaching the way we coach at MCC level. Because at ACC level, we evaluate you on PCC markers. So at MCC level, you're going to be, we want you to coach at a high PCC, if not a low MCC at least. We won't guarantee you high MCC because you need 2,500 hours plus for that. Yeah. So it's going to be a very demanding journey. This has to be priority for the next 6 months minimum, and then till you clock your 500 hours. But it will be a very transformational experience. So commit yourself to this rocky terrain. And it's like caterpillar to butterfly kind of a thing. That's the best metaphor. It will be slightly painful, very difficult, but what you will recognize, what you will learn would be transformational. Of course, you can always get away with a minimum PCC certification, but then you will not be doing justice yourself. Yeah. So when is the right time to start? Yeah. If you still feel I'm not ready yet, still not ready yet, yeah. Don't wait too long a period. It's like planting a tree. When was the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago. Otherwise, it is today. So again, let you be driven by your heart. The heart will tell you when is the right time, but sooner the better. Because this takes time. This is a marathon. This is more like a marathon. Yeah, ACC is more sprint within a marathon, but this is a genuine marathon. MCC, I feel, is an ultra marathon. So ask yourself when is a good time to start. Yeah. So we are starting a batch on 5th July. It's going to be a global cohort once again. We've got a few signups already. Then why are we doing this webinar? This is part of our plan and the curriculum, the build-up that we do. The sessions are going to be on alternate Tuesdays, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. India time. And it's not going to be pure online. In October, we are going to meet physically for over a weekend, Saturday, Sunday in Bangalore. Now, why Bangalore? Rekha and I are based out of Bangalore. We all are based out of Bangalore. And Bangalore perhaps is one of the best cities today. When the rest of the country is going through heat wave, we are kind of using our blankets. Yeah, and I'm running a nose, right? Mild flu. So Bangalore is going to be the venue in October. The entire plan, everything is drawn out. Some of you would have already received the mail. We planned these things pretty much well in advance. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to us, Rekha, me, or rest of the team. Happy to answer offline. And I pause here. We'll allow Rekha to come in. Any comments, Rekha, at this stage? Then we'll take some questions. Over to you, Rekha.
Thanks, Subhash. I just wanted to, you talked about why Bangalore, right? And I'm just coming back from a trip to Mumbai and Pune, and it was horrible. The heat was bad, the humidity was bad. I don't think I have sweated that much in a long while. We just stepped onto the Bangalore terrain, and I'm already feeling the cold, you know. I think I'm going to be developing cold. So, yeah, I mean, the temperatures are vastly different, pleasantly different. So, that's
Absolutely.
about that.
Yeah.
About the difficulty part, right? I think
Yes.
that's a nice thing because um, we don't want to, you to think that it's all walking on a bed of roses. Along with the roses, there are thorns also. So you need to be walking very carefully and mindfully. And then at the end of it, you feel okay. That was a journey worth taken. So we don't want to build up as if you just come in and you will come out unscathed and untransformed, and the way you enter before and after, there is a vast difference. Actually, even at ACC level, right, Subhash, the way people, we should start doing that, I think. We
Yes.
should start doing a before and after pictures. So there is a huge difference that will happen to you, and the focus on your own development, like Subhash was talking about. There's no way that you will be able to be a successful coach coming out of PCC unless and until you have done solid work on yourself. So that is the bonus. That is a part of the course. I just wanted to ask that much, add that much, Subhash, and then maybe I'll just take some. Let's look at what questions are coming. So Aparna is saying, have you shared the fees, duration of the course? I joined in late. Yeah, and I think duration of the course you did touch on, right? It will be roughly, it will be a 6-month program, Aparna, because we are talking about 3-hour sessions every alternate week, and a 2-day thing in the middle of the program. So it will span over 6 months. So the July one will go on up to early first week of Jan or so. You want to talk about the fees, Subhash?
Yeah, the program fees, it's there on the website also. It is 2 lakh Indian rupee plus GST if you're in India. It's applicable. Yeah, 2 lakh, 200,000 or equivalent if you're from overseas. Yeah. There's
So
another question. What's the value that is, pardon?
Do corporates prefer PCC is a question. To me, it's like this. I look at our Indian way, right? I look at ACC as undergraduation, then post-graduation, and then maybe doctoral is what is MCC. So definitely at a PCC level, the quality of coaching and the kind of partnership that we demonstrate after PCC is much higher than what we do at ACC level. So from a return on investment perspective, I think corporates will definitely get more value from coaches who are already PCC, and they would definitely therefore be biased towards PCCs. You want to give any examples of companies, Subhash?
Yes, we have. We just concluded an engagement where 7, 8 of the middle-level leaders were coached by our coaches, and the precondition was a PCC. The same company in 2019, when we did, we offered PCC learners that time. I think that time it was more they're willing to kind of consider that. This in 2019. This time they made it clear that it has to be a PCC. Uh, you know, I don't want to drop names. One of those big fives, they're talking to us. They said only PCC, MCCs. Yeah. So generally, I've seen a shift. I'm giving these examples because I want to back up with data. Earlier, 10 years back when I started the journey, ICF awareness was low. Today, ICF awareness it's become the de facto prerequisite pretty much. But ACC to PCC in some instances, yes. the institutions which are familiar with ACC, PCC, and the proficiency, there is some shift for sure. If I can add a personal angle to that, when I made the choice, I blogged it in my latest blog on LinkedIn and the website. When I discovered coaching in 2012, when I decided to become a coach, when I went around inquiring, it was very evident for me that if I'm going to do this rest of my life, I'll rather go for a PCC directly, which is what I did. So to that extent, PCC is very helpful if you want to be an independent professional coach, solo entrepreneur, running a company over a period of time. Yeah, and this we are not constrained by the retirement age, right? I personally see myself working way beyond my retirement age. Some of my friends and colleagues are subjected to. I'm just adding some more elements also from a personal point of view. From a prospect, yes, what is the prospect? The prospect is getting better. I'll also add there, while we cover business of coaching as part of the curriculum, there is an element of effort, discipline, focus that you need to bring in to set up the business side of it. Like today, for example, this webinar, we don't cancel this webinar even when, like ACC batch, we did the webinar even when the batch was almost full. It got filled up later. But we went ahead because we had committed ourselves to a certain roadmap. Similarly, business of coaching is important if you want to be a professional coach. So what I'm saying is, this is one side of it. The business side, you have to still balance it well. Apart from the deep work, for me that forms a golden triangle. The PCC, would there be coaching opportunities? Yeah, Aparna, we don't guarantee. So Aparna's question is, do we offer coaching opportunities? Yes. Wherever it's on, if we get something, then we pass it on. Like an assignment just got over, and we're talking to a couple of others also. Yes, but we don't guarantee. There is no placement for sure. Yeah. So Mansur, I hope, yeah. So I think Rekha's already replied to that, right? Yeah. Thanks for joining. Yes, you can. I think Rekha is already responding. Thanks, Rekha.
So Aparna is asking a question about, apart from a PCC, would there be coaching opportunities available through you?
Yeah, I replied. I said, if we get opportunities, we do share. On a regular basis, we do get opportunities, but we're not an aggregator. So, let me be clear that what we want to do is, we don't want to kind of give a fish, but rather enable all to, to fishing, to practice fishing, going by that proverb. But yeah, we do get opportunities, and we have always done a lot of assignments. Yeah. So this is an interesting question. I'm looking to become an internal coach in my company. Will PCC help? Extra certification comes at a personal cost, no, not corporate sponsored. The last bit, most of our learners, both from India and overseas, by the way, we have learners from New Zealand, Australia to North America, South America. Most of them are self-sponsored. So to that extent, for ACC and PCC, even some of us have gone for MCC, we all sponsored ourselves. So, so to that extent, I don't see any disconnect there, because ultimately it's more about self-development, the point that Rekha made earlier, right? This first a journey to your deeper awareness, along with the certification and the business or the professional side. So it is worth an investment. It's going to be very transformational. So please go ahead and invest your valuable money, energy, effort there. You'll never regret that. If you're committed and you're clear why you're getting into it and what you're getting into it. As an internal coach, of course, yes. Does it help if you're an internal coach? Definitely. Why? Because it helps. I know quite a few PCCs who are internal coaches. Some of them from our own alumni, some of them from other institutes, from our erstwhile institutes where we had worked together. So it helps because it is still going to deepen your presence. It's still going to deepen your coaching skills, your competencies, your confidence, your ability to go beyond the process to explore the emotions and other things. I just had, around 7 o'clock, just checking out the score, who is batting. I got a call from a PCC from our community. No, he had a client who lost a father recently and kind of was at a low, emotionally, did tear up a couple of times, broke down a couple of times. So, and he kept reminding himself and her that I'm not a therapist, this is a coaching session. So he had some doubts about, what do I do? What I did, was it right? Right? So, of course, what he did was perfectly right, and he did the right thing for the client. That is what internal coaches need to do now. Now, the whole thing around great resignation to the whole challenge about retaining talent, all that HR is facing, business leaders are facing. I wish there are more internal PCCs than it is today, because the PCCs are heavily skewed towards external professionals like me. So definitely yes, an emphatic yes. Yeah. Anything, Rekha? Yeah.
Gosh, Aparna is asking, she's already completed 500 hours of coaching. She doesn't have an ACC. Is there any way she can get a PCC faster than 6 months? I think that is not possible, right, Subhash? You need to go through 125 hours of, how much of training have you already done, Aparna? Because the 500 hours of coaching, that's a good question also. The 500 hours of coaching practice is counted from the time you start your training. So you need to start clocking your practice hours from the time you start training to become a coach, whether it is ACC or PCC. Manzar, we can manage that by having you log in online while the rest of the participants are meeting face to face offline. We've done that before at ACC,
Yes.
at the time of ACC also. So
If that is the sole constraint, that can be managed.
yeah, it's just that you will need to be, online for the whole day for 2 days instead of for just 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So any other question? Anything that I missed? Earning potential differs significantly from ICC. Yes, you need to command that price, demand the price, then stick to it. Then definitely you can earn more. Right? I personally moved up every time when I added my experience and moved from PCC to MCC. The simple answer is yes. The second part is, will you help in building a business? We'll partner with you in a coaching way. Yeah. Because the curriculum at an ACC also, we do cover some basics. At a PCC, we kind of handhold much more than that. And there are certain things that you need to do, whether you're an internal coach, where you need to do internal branding, and the whole setting up of the business website and social media presence, if you plan to become an external coach. If you have been an agile coach, so branding seems to be an issue. No, I think, that example that I gave, who is hosting in Hyderabad, Nanda from our community, Nanda calls himself he's an agile trainer, agile scrum trainer, but he also calls himself leadership coach. Sometime back when I Googled leadership coach, his name came up actually, which means that, he's doing something back end. So you can always do agile and leadership coach or anything that executive, anything that you think is aligned with that. Like for example, research by ICF says, on an average, majority of the coaches globally run at least two businesses parallelly. Like in my case, it is coaching and coach training, right? I mean, I don't do, though I'm a certified healer and there are other interests like banking. Based on my banking experience, I don't do other stuff. I'm very laser focused on these two, and it helps me. But there are people who do other things also along with coaching. So it's up to you. Yeah, great question. Yeah.
So Subhash, Aparna is asking, she's done 60 hours of training with results coaching systems. And now can she fast track PCC so that she completes in less than 6 months? So my take on that is that if you've already done 60 hours and if that is an accredited program with ICF, you need to do only 65 hours of training, and that since it is spread out, it will take 6 months, Aparna.
Yeah.
So
6 months itself is fast track, Aparna.
yes.
Yeah. No, not faster. Simple answer is no, because then you won't get the benefit of the journey or the momentum practice. Yeah. Shruti, yes, even if you have finished only ACC journey so far, not applied, you are free to join. There are a couple of others who asked the same question offline also. So is it recommended to go for PCC after ACC completion? See, it's again very personal. I mean, if you ask me, a bird in hand, worth, definitely better than 2 in bushes. When you have an ACC in your hand, you can say that I'm an ICF coach. You can't use ICF till you have got a credential. So whether you choose to go for an ACC or not, first, it's a personal choice. Second, my personal bias, though I went PCC directly, is why not? I mean, at least in your case, I think you're only away from 100 hours. Even if you complete your 100 hours over the next couple of weeks or months, you can still apply. The third element to that, for benefit of others, the primary difference that I see between applying for ACC or go directly to PCC, some of our learners are doing that, is you save the application fee twice. Otherwise you pay for ACC once, which currently is $550. I think that's being revised. And then you again apply for PCC, again there is an additional fee. If you want to save this, then it's also a good idea. So these are 2-3 factors that you need to look at. And if you're an internal coach or an external coach, how much of a necessity is it to have an ICF credential in your area of work? Right? That also helps. What happens is, like for Shruti as an internal coach, ACC may not be critical, but the other side of that coin is you are still building a brand. For someone who wants to become a professional coach down the line, carrying an ICF stamp right away, being part of the community, being part of the chapter, I think you just get a head start for others who are going to start later. And that matters, right? Yeah. Because it helps you in your Google search, everything. The more you're there on that space, Google also recognizes that you have been around and you start coming up on a Google search earlier than later. So it's not a straightforward yes or no, Shruti. And thanks for this question. Something that you need to look at a personal level. If you still have a follow-up question, Shruti, on that at a personal level, maybe you should connect with either Rekha or me, and we should be able to answer that.
Let me see if I can continue that on chat, Subhash. In the meantime, Sundar has asked an interesting question. He's saying, this program that is starting on July 5th, is it for 125 hours or is it for 65 hours of training?
Very clearly 65 hours. Yeah, the July that we start is 65 hours. So why we had that slide, both 65 hours and 125 hours, is that ICF allows and they will expect us to offer an end-to-end ACC and PCC or direct PCC. That's why we have that slide. Yeah. So like somebody who's got some experience training, you can officially start with this 65 hours and complete that 60 hours along the way or after you complete 65 hours. That's why ICF training is adult oriented and it's not linear. People have done that. So to summarize, we are offering 65 hours in July to January. You can join that. And if you're not done your first 60 hours of training for ACC, you'll have to still do that. Only then you'll complete your 125 hours of journey. Another thing is, we don't mandate that you should have done, like Aparna here, we don't mandate that you should have done 60 hours also from us. Though, generally, bulk of our registrations come from our internal alumni. And we prefer it that way, disclosure, yeah.
Subhash Manzar is asking another interesting question. He's asking the other way around. Like, if he joins up for the 5th batch, will he be able to complete his ACC and then continue into the PCC journey?
Technically, yes. No, Rekha?
Yeah, except the curriculum for ACC. is
Curriculum will be different. Yeah, correct.
And what happens, Manzar, is that the 65-hour program, right? It is designed in such a way that it's a takeoff after the 60-hour ACC journey. So we don't go into the fundamentals all over again. So it's like that is like a prerequisite is already done. So we start building on top of that. So if you're registering for that, you will not be able to connect to what's going on. You know? Is that clear for you, Manzar?
And if I can take the liberty of saying this, I would always recommend go ACC and then go PCC.
So what you can do, Manzar, is you maybe, for those who want to directly go in for PCC credentialing, you should join up for the ACC program. They will take you through the ACC journey of 60 hours of training and 100 hours of practice. Don't apply and continue into the PCC journey, build up the remaining 65 hours and the 500 hours of practice and then apply directly. That is possible.
So Mansur, for more information, you can just drop a line with your email ID to this, and we'll have a mail sent to you. We'll have a detailed mail sent to you. Yeah. Any other question? Otherwise,
there are a couple over here. Are there any success stories and what is the challenge that PCC learners face?
many success stories in terms of what? Successful as a coach, or I just sorry for that question because I just posted something on LinkedIn this morning. What does success mean to you? So we've had many of our friends and coaches from our community also moved from ACC to PCC. So it's been personally transformational. It has improved their business prospect. They are better coaches for sure, and also their earning potential. But if you're going to measure this on any individual, you have to measure on all these three. All the three parameters, not just one parameter. Then definitely yes. Success stories many. Yeah, we will be sharing some videos very soon. We're in the process of compiling some videos and stories. There has been a blog which we have put up on our website and the LinkedIn page. There are some success stories there. All PCCs have shared. 6 of them, many more are coming. Yeah. So if there are no questions, like Indigo will close earlier. Those of you who have not finished your dinner can have. And hope to see some of you. Thanks, Mansur. And thanks for joining. Always a pleasure to connect with. We celebrated when we had our first registration from New Zealand a few batches ago. We had the first one from Philippines in the previous batch, second one from Philippines. So always, we are looking at the various countries in the globe. Thanks for joining. Yeah. So any closing remarks, Rekha? Otherwise, I'm done.
No, I'm just looking forward to many of you being in the program on 5th.
Yeah. Yeah. Take care. Stay safe. Bye for today. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Rekha.
Bye, Subhash. Good night.